Hello, and welcome to my stream. And yeah, hello and welcome to my stream. Thank you for coming. No one's currently here yet, which is okay. Um, if you're joining me on the video on demand section, hello and welcome. Today we're continuing our work on the Kingdom Hearts Crusaders Clubhouse. Getting this all set up and all working. I did a little bit of work after the stream to finish up some stuff, mostly creating a shadow version of this front texture here. So, yep. Creating a shadow version of this texture so when things go into shadow, they get darker in the appropriate way. Um, okay. Excuse me. And I notice these support beams look a little off here. Okay. There we go with that. Let's adjust this a little bit. Okay. Yeah, I'm going to have to play around with this a little bit. Probably need to change the input method here. So, yep, we're going to be working on the Kingdom Hearts Crusaders Clubhouse. I'm going to try to finish up this front texture here. Get it all appropriate and everything. And as you can tell, I took the shadow color information from the side here. Though it does create an interesting effect, is it almost feels like an inverted image is in the shadows than just a shadow thing because of the fact that the color of this line matches the shadows a little bit, and then you get this which matches this more, so it creates kind of an inverted feel. I might change that and make it less image reference accurate and just make it look better. This does kind of have a neat effect to it. I'm probably also going to work on this wall texture here. Get rid of that. Create a shadow version of this texture as well. Okay. Write this out so I can actually... Yeah, this texture right here is this texture. I'm not quite sure why these edges are brown. I may have just arbitrarily picked that, and I think it's actually showing through on the edge here. Yeah, I think that's this brown edge right here. I think it's because the front wall is a little bit more forward. So I'm gonna fix that a little bit right here. Ah, it's not that it's more forward, it's that it's more to the side. It's also a little bit forward too, so let's fix that. Let's zoom in here. Okay. that should be good enough. Yep, I'm not seeing that gap anymore. Okay. That's actually not what I meant. Okay. Just studying the texture here. Okay, I also need to add a nail here and build a 3D nail there. So I think I can go inside here. Okay, let's change this to wireframe. Let's just grab this here and copy it and paste and then grab. Let's move it outside here. Let's put that back to camera view here. Oop. Okay. Let's zoom out a little bit on this. Excuse me. Okay. Let's see here. This over. Why don't we change? Excuse me. Change this to material preview. Okay, that seems to be right about there. That's a pretty big nail, I just realized. Next rotation. There's scale. Okay, that feels about right size-wise. Rotate it. Okay, that feels about right for that. Let's click on that. And zoom in here. Okay. This over here. Rotate it. Here. Side. Okay. Wow, just now got notified, huh, Sasami-chan? That is kind of interesting. Okay, so there's that. Let's go out of here. Okay. Now, pull that back into the wall here. Okay, let's... so how's your morning going, Sasami-chan? Let's see. Okay. Cool. Could be better than okay, but okay's good. Okay. Let's move this way and rotate. Let's pull this closer. Let's move this way. That's almost right. Let's pull this down a little bit. This closer. Okay. Okay, I think that gives us just about the right angle here. Yeah, that is pretty much that is a really big nail. That is a huge nail. Okay. It looks like it'd be up a little bit more. And that feels about right. That feels about right for the distance from the edge of the wall. Yeah, I just realized something too. It's like, um, the nail doesn't have a shadow, so that says a couple of things. Either they forgot to put it in a shadow, or the nail is basically hammered flat against the wall. So let's see if we can't duplicate this being flat against the wall and see how that feels. Okay. So I'm gonna grab this, just really bend that thing out of the way, then I'll rotate this. Grab this. Okay. That a little bit out. Make that a bit straighter. That. Okay. Yeah. That's not going to work right. So maybe the nail is vampiric. Um, Possible. But I have a way to solve this problem. I just thought I'd see if I can't just solve it by bashing the nail into the wall like you would like a stubborn nail in real life. Okay. Okay. So, gonna zoom out here. let's go to the material here. Okay. Click on this here. Yeah, man, I want the tabletop. Thank you. Okay, view. Actually, do this. Cursor to there. Then we go view. To cursor. I should be able to do this. Yep, there we go. And now I can click back on this outside. And let's see if this does what I think it's going to do. Go here and go none. Okay, that did not affect the inside, so that is good. Okay. So, yeah. That, yeah. Turns off shadows for that, so that makes it really handy. Okay, let's see here. Yeah, that's a good way to look at it, because I think that's what they were kind of going for. So, and what I'm actually going to do here is, let's see. Okay, it looks like this actually has two different two shaders. So whatever I do to one shader does not affect the other shader. So that's going to be handy, because what I'm going to do right now is I really don't need it to be associated with a texture. I can just basically nuke the texture. Don't need that. I can now add two color maps here. Okay. There we go. And I can now input this to here and this to here. Go into this shader. I don't need that. That right there. Grab this and put it all up to full brightness on that. Okay, let's rearrange stuff so the lines feel better. Excuse me. Actually, I'm gonna move this down here. Put that there. These back a little bit. Okay, now to go out of here and just make sure I sampled that color correctly. There we go. And I'm going to select that, and then I'm going to go here and let's reduce this to 0.5. And there we go. We now have the midtones and the shadows. I think that's how that's my shader is set up that way. Okay, let's zoom in. And just to do a little bit of testing, I'm going to put this back to opaque. And there. Yep. 0.7. Okay. I am actually going to turn this off here because, you know, the reference image doesn't really have a shadow on there, but I want to get the shaders set up in case I wanted to add something in later. Okay. And now the other one is actually just going to be a dot on this wall texture. But this one needed to be 3D to make it so if you did walk around the 3D model of the house, you would see it sticking out. So that's interesting. I am not seeing the shadow. There. I think I know why. Yep, that's it. I adjusted some lighting conditions earlier. As you can tell, the background is blue. This this background is actually providing light in the scene. And its brightness actually determines certain shadow parameters in the image itself. So I can change the strength of the light. And that changes certain things in the scenario. Excuse me. Okay. Okay. Can delete that. Don't need that hooked up anymore. Don't need that. Okay. That's all set there. Okay, so let's go into the texture for this wall and get that nail set up. Okay. So now I'm just waiting for Affinity Designer to load up. Okay, and I also cleaned up the texture a little bit because last time I just scaled everything up. I didn't realize that it wasn't quite pixel aligned, and it caused a little bit of issues in the 3D model. So I went in and fixed that. Okay, so we have these shadow tones and this turn on the bright tones here. Okay. So that's pretty close to this line here. So grab a circle there. And I forgot to check where I was actually putting that circle, so I'm going to delete that. Okay, yeah, I'm putting it in the wrong section. Minimize that, because it's going to be on the outside here. So, okay, yeah, we are, that's exactly where I want it to be. So I'm going to just drop a circle in there. Actually, let's undo that. Make the circle basically a perfect circle here. Zoom in, click on this, make sure the right color is selected. Do that. That's interesting. I should be seeing a big gray dot right there. Oh, I see. I have, once again, I actually put it in the wrong spot because I put it on the shadow layer. That's pretty easy. Okay. Back down to the midtones, outside group. Here. Boom. There we go. Huh, that's kind of funny. That's almost the right size for that nail. Okay. Let's scale it down a little bit. Because if you look at the reference, the nail itself kind of matches the size of this gap. Well, not this gap, but this curve. It's almost as big as that. So also this needs to be just a little bit. So get that down a little bit more. Let's see how far is it away from. Yeah, that could be a little bit farther away. It feels about right. So just make sure that's saved. Let's export. That and save. Okay. Let's copy that and go to our shadow layer here. Outside here. I just realized that I also corrected this a little bit on the shadow layer, so actually I'm gonna have to copy both of those from the light. Yep, and there we go. Delete that one, and then I'm going to turn on the shadow layer. on that. Click on this and make sure the correct part's selected, and boom. Now we're going to click on this and go to the color. And let's decrease this by 12. So if that was 6, it would be 4. So that's 5. 35. Okay. Now that's good. We will export this. Okay, those are both exported. On that. Change this to... Yep, that's not the button I wanted. I may just reload this. I'll go back to here. Go here and reload. Go shadow and yeah, and just to show off the texturing a little bit, you can actually see, since I don't have, since I haven't updated the shadow texture yet to reflect the modifications, you can actually see that the nail's disappearing because it's not on the shadow texture, but it will appear back once I do this. Boom. And it looks like I could actually move the dot back towards the wall a little bit there. So let's go and fix that. And click on that one. And click here, scroll back up. Do that, and now zoom in. And now since I have both of them selected, when I move this one around, it's going to move the right one around in the same way. Okay. Huh. And there's a technique in Affinity Design, well, a tool I should say, called symbols that I might be able to use to make this easier in the future. I just need to play around with it again some more because it's been a while since I've used symbols. What symbols are is a collection of objects that you can duplicate, but still edit one, and it will edit all of the other duplicates as well. And you can actually set things up so only certain things get duplicated across symbols. So colors could stay the same, but positions would be different. And anytime you change the colors would change across all of them. But if you moved an object in the symbol group, that movement wouldn't change between symbols, but the color change would. Or in the case, what I would like to do is the colors wouldn't be linked, but the positions would be. But I would have to play around with it because I can't remember how to unlink certain aspects and relink other aspects, and it's something I just have to play around with, and I haven't. But for right now, I am just going to do the whole select both objects and move them at the same time. Okay, so Excuse me. That feels about right. So I'm going to save that. Export. Shadow. Then hide shadow. Export. Midtones. Then back into Blender. Reload. Reload. Okay. Yeah, that's closer. I think that's good enough for now. So let's zoom out. Okay, I think the front's pretty much done except for the flowers and the flower box. But I think I'm going to move on to getting this texture here set up. Okay, so let's click on this wall. Get that set up. Don't know what's going on with that. Gonna delete that. Do not need that anymore. And go. Okay, change this back to our left wall. Go into Affinity here. Also open up the texture folder. Let's see if I have a left wall Affinity Designer project, or if I just have a left wall SVG. I do have a left wall Affinity Designer project, so I am going to open that up. And I'm going to need to pull in the exterior reference. Okay, open that up. Oop. Okay. So what I am going to do, okay, let's move this up here. This is that. This is all the lines. These are the different wall patterns. Okay. Okay, so let's move these reference images outside of that. Let's do that and put those together. Okay, don't need that as its own thing. Okay. Now let's just turn off things we don't currently need. And I'm going to build some stuff now. what are you up to right now, Sasami-chan? If you don't mind me asking. First, let's turn off this layer, go back here. That. That's lined up. That's lined up. And that's lined up. Okay. Turn that back on. Turn that on. Grab this whole thing and put it inside here. Oh. Excuse me. Oh. Okay. Let's go move that into here. Same with the window. Yeah. Okay. And also put the nails in there. Okay. That's all done there. Call this inside. Now let's take care of the outside. Grab the pen. Roughly put in the points here. There we go. And that's the outside color. Okay, I'm gonna call this outside. Now we're gonna group those together and call this mid tone tones. Okay, I go back to here, turn that off, go back to this, rough in the square again. Okay. Now, boom. Put that inside that. And let's get to making our lines. And I just saw something that I could go back and correct in one of the other textures. Okay. Let's see here. Okay, 1, 2, 3. There's 3 horizontal lines. So let's just rough that in real quick here. Okay, 1, 2. I suddenly feel like that owl from the commercial. 1, a 2, a 3. The world may never know. Okay. Change that back to the appropriate spot. Click on this, then click on here. Go to the stroke. Let's see what 10 looks like. Gonna need to be thicker, so let's go all the way up to 30. Yeah, that looks good. Excuse me. Okay. Here. That. Okay. Looking at the lines. Just a bit thicker. Let's make this one a little bit there. Okay, that feels about right that way. So now we just need to do this and add some more points along the line because it's a little bit curvy. Just grab this whole thing here and let's move it up just a little bit. Oh, that's a stretch. Okay. Back to this. Yeah, that feels about right for that. Okay. Go back here, go back to the color, click back on that. To stroke, 30. Excuse me. Okay. see here. It's just a little bit wavy. Okay. Now to, yeah, it's a little bit curved there. And we've got another bump here. This goes almost all the way up to the edge. Okay, and I think I have one here that just pulls it down slightly. Yeah. And yeah, that's about right. This one could go a little bit lower there. Yep, there we go. And let's duplicate this. Bit down one, and then let's make this square the same color as this. Excuse me. Because some of the line is hidden on both sides. Yep. I'm going to turn that off because I don't need it on right now because I'm still working on the lines themselves, so it makes it kind of hard to see the lines. Okay. First things first, we're going to click on this. Okay. So let's click here and go to swatches. Can that, do that? Click on that line we actually want. Yep, that's the color we want. Okay. Here, here. There we go. grab these and pull them down. That's actually pretty much it for that line. Okay, so now we just need 2 vertical lines. Actually, this spot here on the curve needs a second point. This moved over, so this moved this way. Okay. There we go. Now let's get some vertical lines in here. That's okay. That's an idea. Let's group these together and call them, if I can remember how to spell it, let's go to Google for help. Horizontal and vertical. Okay. This will help pick them out in the future. And the first line is right about here. Like that. And the next one is right about here to here. And there we go. Ugh. Okay, so now all we need left on here is 3 nails. Okay. Excuse me. Okay, I don't know what I'm doing there. Okay, this is weird. I seem to be somehow... I was somehow like moving stuff. Ah, I think I know what was going on. That's on. So it's snapping to the nearest pixel, and I was so zoomed in that the nearest pixel was way off screen. Okay. Okay. I wish there was an easier way to like select things that are underneath each other here. It would be handy. Hmm. Because right now I'm selecting that one, which is not the one I want to select. I want to select this one, but it's underneath that one, so I can't really get to it, which is kind of annoying. Okay. So instead of copying one of these, I'm going to go back over here and just do my own circle. Okay. And we're going to have one here. Back here. Clean that. Click on that. Click on this. Zoom in. Click on that. Zoom out. That from there because it ended up in the wrong spot. Also do that. Group those together and name them vertical. Okay, then hit paste, put it above. You know, in a way, I kind of feel like this salesman from this movie where a science geek gets transported to a fantasy land and becomes a dragon. When he comes back, he has this crown. I think it is. Does he have the crown, or does he have like another magical object? I I think it was the crown. He comes back with this jeweled red crown, and he hands it to this salesman that we actually met at the beginning of the movie, and he goes, "So how much for this?" And the I'm just gonna call him a pawn shop owner. Looks like goes, "Oh, that's really good." And then like this woman who the main character interacted with, and because of usual storytelling, they end up in a relationship magically. Um, she comes back from that. She actually comes from the magical world to stay and live with him in the regular human world, and she brings in another object and hands it to the poor salesman, the poor pawn shop owner, and the pawn shop owner looks at these two items and goes, "Where do these kids get this stuff?" And I'm looking at the size of these nails. I'm like, where did these kids get the industrial sized nails? Like, do the Earth ponies have to make the nails big so they can work with them? But the nails on the inside of the building are smaller. Like, what kind of? Where did they get these things? So I'm pretty sure I've actually seen nails this big in real life. I just can't remember where. I need to make this less curved by the looks of it. There we go. Okay, that feels good. So now we need to go back to that one. Grab this and do this and move this one down to here. Shrink that down a little bit. Excuse me. That feels about the right size. This section needs to be a little bit closer. Like so. Okay, and we got one more, so I'm gonna grab this, duplicate it, and this one's right about here. Yeah, that feels about the same size. Okay. I can't remember the name of the movie. I think it was made by the same team who did like the Return of the King or the Hobbit animated movie. God, it's been a while. Um, so yeah, I think the texture, at least the light version of the texture, is done. So now, after I do some here, group NAIL nails. Okay. Turn that back on. I'm actually going to click on that and edit this a little bit. Okay. Now, duplicate all of that. Hide this. And now we're going to go in here and make these into the dark versions. Okay, I should say the shadows. So we're going to name this shadows. Okay. Okay, it's just past noon. So I'm gonna finish up at least the outside plate. And then maybe next week I'll move into the inside or I'll do a little bit offline. But for now I just want to get this here into shadows. So what I'm gonna do with that is I'm actually going to zoom in here and make that color. Click on this here. Click on that there. I just realized the nails are the dark color on this one. That's okay. That just means I just don't need to change those. So I'm going to do that. Boom. It should take care of. Ah, I see what I did there. Okay. Go to that and that. Okay. Go here. Boom. Okay. I believe that's all set up for the shadow there. Okay. Okay, so I think that's good enough for that. So we're gonna turn off that, turn on that, save, export. Save, save, and then turn on, excuse me, shadow. Export, export, and shadow. Okay, now let's go back into Blender. Copy that, paste that. Okay. Now let's open up this and pick shadow and open. Grab that to there. Hit that. Just connect this straight over to here. Karen, click here and delete. 0.7. Okay. There we go. Whoa. And Blender just crashed. Let's open that back up and see where Blender. Where Blender last was. Okay. Let's see what this looks like. That's good enough. Grab this and put it back up here. This back into render. Let everything load in. Okay. Now we're gonna do this, hit copy, hit paste, grab this, open up this, and turn this back to here so it's easier to find. That, open, right there, go in here, delete those. Boom. Okay. And save. So there we go. There's going to be some tweaking involved, but I think that works pretty well. Ah, I can actually see where some of the brown lines will be. I can fix that so it more matches this color. Okay, but it's a little bit past noon, so it's about time to wrap up the stream. Oh boy. Mm. So, thank you for joining me on this stream. Just making sure that's saved, and let's do the same thing for here. Okay, so that's it for this stream for today. Thank you for joining me. If you're joining me through the video on demand, thank you for watching the entire video. The usual YouTube stuff. Like, subscribe, ring the bell. Please comment down below. Please be civil, nice to everyone else. Ask me questions in the comments. Let me know what you think of the model so far. Any of those questions, maybe even like ask me my thoughts on your favorite show. I might actually have watched it, and I can give you feedback on that. If you're doing your own 3D model, feel free to ask me down below to take a look at it. I'm okay with that. Or if you have any critiques or hints or tips for working better on this project, I'm up for that as well. Next time, I will be working on the roof, adding in the textures and getting the lighting set up more matching what's in the reference image. So yeah, it's coming along. There are some tweaks I have to do that I've noticed. Like, I think I need to move the porch area here up a little bit to more match how things are, or stretch down the bottom of the Cuter Crusaders clubhouse here. But back to the usual outro stuff. Hey, Sami-chan, you're basically here for the outro. So as you can tell, I got some stuff done. I got that outside texture finished. Thank you for joining me, Sami-chan. It's always nice to have you around, even if you have to be off doing stuff. That's perfectly fine. You don't have to stick around and watch or listen. So the usual stuff. I already said the like, subscribe, and everything. If you want to help this channel and you don't have any money, put on a playlist in the background. We have plenty of playlists. You can listen to us talk about children's stories on Ember's Reading Room, or you can hear us talk about other pop culture stuff we're interested in the Thoughts On series, which has a lot of different categories in and of itself. So if you don't feel like watching every in our Thoughts On series, you can just pick out a series and listen to our thoughts on that series in itself. We also have different series broke down in Ember's Reading Room in case you don't want to watch all of those. Or if you think a friend of yours might like some of our content, share it their way, or post it on Twitter, Facebook, name your social media of choice, post it on there and link back to this. But if you do feel like you want to support us financially, we have a Patreon and a Ko-fi. The Ko-fi has a digital store in it where you can buy higher resolution versions of my art. Not all of my art, certain select pieces I've re-released on there in higher resolution versions, since I do most of my work in vectors. That means I can release higher and higher scale versions of them as I choose. And they look really sharp at those higher resolutions. Let's see, I think I got everything. Liking, subscribing, comments, the Ko-fi, donations one time, got the Ko-fi store, got Patreon. You get a lot of my art about 2 to 3 weeks early on there. I usually put up a special post about the tree house as I work on it on there. So if you want to get more info on that, you can go to my Patreon for that, and for $1, for as low as $1 a month, you can get that. Excuse me. I believe that's everything. Never punch a tiger. Well, that's one way to end the stream. So, never punch a tiger. Where did that come from, Sasami-chan? Is that your tip? Yeah, and I'm really liking the way the whole thing is turning out. It's looking really nice. Oh, important safety tip. Gotcha. Well, on that note of never punch a tiger, I hope you all have a good time wherever you are, and I will see you all soon. Bye.